Discussing the SACP. We are now joined via Zoom by political analyst Professor Sethulego Matebesi to weigh in on the developments at the SACP Congress, which is underway in Boksburg, Johannesburg. A very good afternoon to you, Prof. Thank you so very much for giving us your time here on SABC News, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, and good afternoon to South Africans.
Let's pick up from where indeed the outgoing SG, Dr. Nzimande, left off, talking about capitalism. The irony really in the Communist Party members being warned about capitalism and the trappings of capitalism, as Dr. Nzimande put it. Surely there's an irony that this is a party that's supposed to be lecturing us and leading when it comes to issues pertaining to communism. What do you make of this and the relevance of the SACP when we still refer to them as this communist party?
Yeah, well, a very difficult question to respond to. But if one analyzes almost like the political trajectory of the South African Communist Party, one can actually detect that it's very difficult even for party leaders to subscribe to that very same phenomenon of being communist, not only in terms of the policy outlook of the party, but in terms of the practical implementation of this policy or living it out. Very difficult, because if you look at the lifestyle of many communist party leaders in South Africa, you will see that it's actually an antithesis to what communism is all about.
Mm-hmm. And earlier on this morning we heard the debate on the party's traditions, especially pertaining to delivery of political reports and messages of solidarity. There seems to have been some sort of misunderstanding or perhaps confusion on what comes first. What is your understanding of this sudden confusion when they've been doing this for so many years?
Yeah, that's always the case, and it's very unfortunate, because the South African Communist Party, it's part of the tripartite alliance with COSATU, and what we have become accustomed to is that messages of support from the tripartite alliance will be delivered during the outset. I mean, from the beginning of any event, this has always been the case. But nonetheless, for me, what I'm reading, it seems as if some of the issues that is challenging, some of these challenges within the African National Congress has now find root in these tripartite alliances. The same applies to COSATU and the South African Communist Party, and hence I would say the misunderstanding during this elective conference. But for me, it's all where partisan issues are playing out in a party where the African National Congress still have strong roots within the South African Communist Party.
Still on that, another issue that came up is that of who is supposed to address the Congress first, between the SG and the President Cyril Ramaphosa. Some Communist Party members are saying that it seems that it would be disrespectful for Ramaphosa to speak after the Secretary General. I couldn't help but to think about the fact that yesterday too, the outgoing SG seemed to compliment former President Jacob Zuma, and then this also comes into question, and I wonder if it has always been something that comes into question about who speaks first between the President of the ANC and the SG of the SACP. I wonder if I'm wrong to mix the two issues, but it does seem a little bit interesting.
Yeah, very interesting, Ayanda. For me, it has always been, I mean, if you look in a general sense, the South African Communist Party is hosting its elective conference. And here we're not referring to a president of the South African Communist Party closing an elective conference. We're referring to an alliance partner. But we all know, whether even members of the South African Communist Party will not agree with me. In fact, most of them won't agree disagree with me on this one, but the ANC is the dominant alliance partner, and sometimes it has a lot of weight who speaks last, and perhaps quite rightly, some South African Communist Party SACP delegates felt that the General Secretary of the party needs to conclude or speak up the current president of the African National Congress. And I will agree with them with that motion. But well, if the president's been invited in his capacity as the president of the country, that is something else. But for me, it is an SACP event. They can dictate the terms. But what really confuses me is that these are very basic issues that should be sorted out months before a conference or an event of this magnitude takes place. But this, once again, is indicative of the egos that are sometimes playing out during these events or elective conferences.
Well, you mentioned the issue of the ANC being the dominant partner, and of course there's always the issue of what the ANC's role is in the Communist Party, which is also actually discussed in great length. Is there some sort of delusion within the party as to the role that the ANC plays in this tripartite, which they I suppose they want to believe that it's an equal footing, but is there certainly some sort of confusion or really delusion about where they are?
Yeah, well, I think the confusion even starts with the SACP being back in with the African National Congress. The ANC, if you look at the policy of the African National Congress, the ANC needs to advance and support a capitalist economy and society. Now, the question is, how will they meet the South African Communist Party halfway if this alliance partner needs to propose and advance communism? And I think that's where the confusion comes from. And the same applies for me. It's even worse when it comes to the Labour Federation, where I strongly believe that it's about time that politics should not meddle or actually have anything to do with Labour federations. But that's the nature of the current situation of the tripartite alliance. And unfortunately, it does have huge implications for smaller alliance partners like the South African Communist Party.
All right, let's leave it there. Thank you very much. Prof, a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for weighing in this afternoon.